For a more difficult quadratic expression that you might get asked in junior certificate higher level or leaving certificate ordinary level, you may have a quadratic equation. So up to now you've had questions such as x squared plus 5x minus 14. And the key thing about these questions for up to now, it's just been 1x squared. There's been an invisible 1 here. But for high level, you might get a slightly more complicated question whereby the number, the coefficient of x squared is not 1, it's 2 or more. So we have an example here of a quadratic expression where the x squared coefficient is 2. Now, the process that I've gone through for the previous more simpler questions, such as these ones, is exactly the same for this more complicated one. So we're going to go through this more complicated question and use the same process again. Okay, so the coefficient of x squared is 2, the number on the end is 14. So to make our guide numbers, we take those two numbers, so we multiply them together. So 2 times 14 is 28. And then the middle number is positive 11. So we want two numbers that multiply together to make 28 and add together to make 11. So we first of all think about all the factors of 28. Now I'm going to list them all out, but obviously you at this stage you should probably know that you can do most of this in your head. Here are the 3 pairs of numbers that multiply together to make 28. You should also appreciate that you have the negatives. And this is a list of all the possible pairings. Now we want a pairing that's going to add together to make 11. They all multiply to make 28, but we now want something that adds to make 11. Well, going through, it shouldn't take you too long to realise that 4 and 7 are the pair. And we're wanting these numbers to split up 11x. So 11x is going to become plus 4x and plus 7x. We still have the 2x squared and we still have the 14. We take the first two terms and we factorise those. So what's the common factor of these two terms? Well, we can see that 2x goes into 2x squared and 2x goes into 4x. Likewise, looking at the second pair of terms, we can see that 7 goes into both of them. So 7 goes into 7x and 7 goes into 14. Now, because we went through this process here to choose the guide number process to get the 4 on the 7 and split up the 11x into 4 and 7, we've been able to factorise the first two terms and the last two terms and get something whereby x plus 2 is a common factor. X plus 2 is a common factor of this, and x plus 2 is a factor of this. So x plus 2 is a common factor, and we have 2x plus 7 to complete the factorisation process. Now I've gone through that fairly quickly, but I've assumed that you've watched the previous videos. And one final point to make is that these two factors that multiply together to make this string of 3 algebraic terms can be written both ways. So it wouldn't be uncommon for you to actually see the factor that has an x coefficient that's not 1. So in this case we have 2x. It's not uncommon to put that factor first. I don't know why, it's just in terms of just an unwritten sort of order that's often appreciated the beauty of. They would often put the 2x plus 7 first. But either answer is correct. You do not need to change the order. Whilst multiplication is commutative, you don't need to do it.